welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Mel and I am a fashion blogger from Massachusetts and I love thrifting, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. I'm taking you thrifting with me. It is my first thrift trip officially of 2025 and we got a lot of really good stuff. Before we jump into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can follow along every single time that I make a new video. I post weekly videos on this channel and also follow my Instagram and TikTok too. I post a lot more daily like fashion content there, which in my opinion is pretty fun. So without further ado, let's go thrifting. Walking into the thrift store, the first thing that you see when you walk in is the jewelry counter and where they keep all of the specialty items. This thrift store, as you can see, is extremely overpriced, and I am actually looking for some jewelry this year. I'll be coming out with a 2025 thrift wish list video next week, and you'll see that jewelry is going to be a major topic. I consider myself a maximalist, so I plan on buying a lot. In addition to jewelry, one of the major things I plan on looking for this year is home decor. I'm trying to organize my house and just put more personal touches on it. I do live in a very small apartment, so I can't buy a ton of stuff and I have to be very selective. But overall, I would really say that my style aligns well with, I guess, what they sell in Anthropologie. So I'll be making some Anthropologie home decor inspired videos as well. But what I'm really looking for, things that are maybe colored glass, embossed glass, funky shaped pieces, ornate pieces like you see here. Unfortunately, again, this thrift store is super freaking expensive. Some of this stuff I don't pick up just because of the price alone, but they really did have a lot of good options. If you go to the thrift store with a vision in mind, you can definitely match it. I recommend making a Pinterest board before you go. It's a really good way to just gather your inspiration and prevent yourself from buying things that you truly won't be able to use or style within your home. I'm in the process of organizing my home right now, so I thought this bowl was really cool. It was just really sticky, so I put it back, and I am on the lookout for woven baskets and or wired baskets so I can keep them in my drawers and just kind of tucked away with all my pieces organized now that I am in a major decluttering era. And one of my biggest thrift tips is to be patient. You have to go thrifting often in order to find things that you love. Don't just buy things because they might be cheap. Also, it's a good opportunity to try things out as well. The perfect item is not going to instantly jump out at you, so you really do have to look at every single item and take your time when you go. Otherwise, it's going to look like the thrift store doesn't have anything and you'll get discouraged really easily. You'd be surprised at some of the things that end up at the thrift store. There's a lot of holiday decor and even things like wrapping paper. I considered getting this roll of wrapping paper for my friend's baby shower coming up at the end of this month, but honestly, it was more expensive to buy it at the thrift store than it was at the regular store. So I'll look at what other options that I have. That stool I just showed, I planned on buying it to reupholster, but quite frankly, I don't need another project right now. And this glass is so cool. It was Harley Davidson, but I just did not feel like paying $7 for a cup, so I did put it back. But back to my point about finding things that could be potentially sold at Anthropologie, I would really consider my style as something like maximalist or even grand millennial, as they say. These bowls specifically, I actually have from Anthropologie. I found a lot of really pretty glassware that seemed like good quality with the gold trim. Unfortunately, I just didn't need any of this right now. Also, I prefer to buy all my glassware in sets, and unfortunately today there just weren't any. Quick cart update. You can see I found a couple of things that I might be taking home with me, and I'm still looking through the glassware section here. I found some fake Corningware, which I thought was pretty funny, and some other items that, again, I feel like would be found at Anthropologie. I really liked this planter. I almost bought it but decided not to, and this year I'm on the lookout for frames, so I make my way to that section next. I'm looking for anything that has maybe gold leafing or even a wooden trim. I found a few decent options, and stay tuned to the end to see if I came home with anything. Next, I make my way towards the clothing. At this point, I've already been in the store for about a solid hour. I am starting to get tired, but I do prevail because clothing is my favorite thing ever, and I always make a point to at least look at the sweaters before I head out. This store that I go to specifically always marks things up way higher than it really should be. So if I were to find a brand that I like Free People or Anthropologie, those items would likely be closer to $15 or even $20. It does make it hard to shop at this location for that reason, but every now and then they actually have some really good vintage items like the sweater that you see here. Unfortunately, it did have some staining along with this sweater as well, so I decided not to get either of them, but did keep looking. I don't usually look through every single item of clothing when I come to this store. Other thrift stores I do though.
only because I know at this store the pricing is going to be a lot more expensive. So I really just look through to see if there's anything specific that catches my eye. I always look for textures, colors, patterns. I thought this sweater was funny. It just says pumpkin on it. Had a bunch of little embroidered pumpkins all over it, which was really cute. And then another quick cart update before I head over to the pants and bottoms section. Found this really cool pair of Free People trousers. Unfortunately, they weren't my size, so I had to leave them. I like the pattern of this blazer as well. I just knew I wouldn't wear it. And I loved this vintage skirt. Unfortunately, it just wasn't my size. Next, I make my way towards the shoes. This store does separate the boots, the sneakers, and then all the other shoes so that they're all in different aisles separated by size. Whenever I look through, I'm always looking for things like Doc Martens. Right now, I'm looking for Fry boots, which I know are very popular. Unfortunately, they'll take anything that has value and put it behind the front counter. So the first stop I always make is the front counter before I go to the shoe section. I thought these vintage boots were pretty cool, and then I make my way over to the handbag section. You can see the store has walls and walls full of handbags and wallets. There's so much to look through. I personally didn't look through every single one, but I am looking for a larger bag right now that's kind of more of like a slouchy boho style because that's just a missing piece from my closet. I went over to the rest of the shoes and made a quick scan. Today, there wasn't anything that I was personally looking for. I did really like these green sparkly boots, but knew I wouldn't wear them if I did purchase them. But they did have a lot of good options today, so I made sure to spend some time in here. Accessories are really big on my thrift list this year. I'm personally looking for vintage belts, maybe ones that have larger belt buckles, and then little mini vintage silk scarves. I made my way towards the men's shoe section and found this pair of shoes where the buckle was really cool. And I found this pair of Vans that I wanted for so long. And now that I had the opportunity to thrift it, I decided that I didn't need them. I made my way towards the blanket section. I'm always on the lookout for anything that's like 100% cotton so that I can turn it into something else, maybe like an item of clothing. They did have a really good selection of blankets today, but nothing that I decided to come home with. So I moved on to the furniture section where I found these beautiful chairs that I really wish that I could have taken home with me. I just don't have a place for it anywhere. And one of the things on my 2025 thrift list is a banker's lamp. I almost brought this home, but unfortunately it had a chip in it.
Now that was a really good thrift trip. And I'll tell you why. This year I'm trying to be a lot more mindful about what it is that I'm bringing into my apartment. I only live in a 500 square foot apartment, so it's really small. And if I end up with too much stuff, it gets very messy very quickly. And I don't want that. If you're following along on my channel, you know that I am in the middle of a 31-day decluttering challenge where every single day I'm getting rid of one more item than the previous day. So when we hit day 31, I would have gotten rid of 496 items that I no longer need. So I'm on day 21 of the challenge. I still have not even come close to running out of items that I can get rid of. So it means that I have bought too much stuff. With that said, one of my next videos is going to be me telling you what my thrift list is of 2025, and my goal is to try and stick to that. I looked through the entire store today and I was in there for about, I want to say 2 hours. I had pretty full cart at one point and I really pared it down, so I'm proud of myself. But the things that I came home with I'm very excited for, and I love them all very much. So without further ado, let's get into the haul. We're gonna start with probably my favorite item, which is this little swan, a goose. I think it's a goose, and I don't know if it's focused or not, I can't really tell, but it's a little ceramic goose and it has like gold leafing on it. And it is a measuring cup. It says 1 cup. So 1 cup is 1 goose. And I just think that is so cool. Hand wash only, so I'm going to have to be very careful with this. I don't have a dishwasher, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But it was $4.99, which is more than I usually pay for little trinkets like this. But I love it. I'm so excited. It makes me really happy. And every time I use it, I know it's going to put a smile on my face. Item number 2 is a little unexpected, but it is this picture. I got this purely for the frame. It's a really nice like wooden frame. This right here is actually more like a printed piece of wood rather than like a painted piece of wood. This is a print, and I don't know what someone had on before this. It looks like they may have like taped like a photo to this. It has all these marks here where like the color came off, but that's okay. My plan is to paint over this. I am an artist and I do paint. I don't really talk about that a lot on my channel. And when I say I am an artist, I mean that I only make like one painting, maybe like once a year, and I always take a really huge hiatus. But one of my goals in 2025 is to make sure that I'm taking time to do the things I love, which is making art. So I bought this frame so I can have it on hand in the event that I need like some type of canvas to paint on. I paint in acrylic, so this should be totally fine for me to paint on as long as it's a clean surface. But on the back, you can see Just like a little wired frame. It's a little busted, but I paid $7.99 for this, so not too bad. Again, a little more expensive than what I would expect to pay at a thrift store. It's still cheaper than a high quality canvas that would be that same size, so saving money. Next up, and I'm just realizing I stole the hanger, is this pair of pants. So technically, these are from Zara Man. I haven't tried them on yet, so I don't know if they fit me, but I paid $7.29 for them. They were new at tags from Marshalls. If you were to buy this at Marshalls, you would have had to pay $9.99, so technically saving $2 here. And it's hard to see, but they are a pair of corduroy pants, and they're more like skinny pants. And I've been seeing some trend alerts that are saying that skinny pants specifically are coming back. I'm a true believer that you should just wear whatever the heck it is that you want to, but if you're a person that follows the trends, you may have noticed that as well. For me personally, I never really got rid of any of my skinny pants. I got rid of my skinny jeans because they don't fit me anymore, and I did find some styles that I prefer better that are a little more baggy. With these pair of pants, they're cool, they're high-waisted. I like the inside of them too. They have like little, I don't know if you can see it, they have little like horseshoes all over the inside of them. Not that you could see those when I'm wearing them, but again, I think this would be really nice to style, maybe like tuck a sweater into. I'm always looking for pants that I can wear in the winter because I feel like once winter comes around, my mind just goes blank in terms of fashion. I have no idea what to wear. I live in a very cold climate, and the jacket essentially has to be the outfit 90% of the time. So I have a lot of cool jackets. Next up is this little bracelet. Another part of my 2025 thrift wish list is going to be more thrifted jewelry. I really like the look of eclectic like bangles and gold chains and different things like that. So I am going to be trying to find things that are even more skewing vintage just because the quality is so much better. This right before I was checking out, it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if I can make that focus, but it's a black bracelet and it has little like white and green diamond shapes all over it. And I just think this looks really pretty. I have very small wrists, and thankfully this is one that's not just gonna like fly off if I'm talking with my hands or anything. It is the brand J. Crew, and J. Crew makes amazing jewelry if you ever find some in the wild. Paid $6.99 for this. So again, a little more pricey, but I felt like it was worth it. The next item is questionable, and I'll tell you why. It's this really old, nasty, beat up pair of men's shoes. You might be wondering, why did I buy these? They don't have a lot of life left in them. They have like pretty much holes at the bottom of them. The leather's kind of shot. I paid only $5.99 for them. They don't smell, so that's good. They're not my size. I can't even wear them if I wanted to. The reason I bought these is because of, and I don't know why this isn't focusing. The reason I bought these is because of this little horse bit. There's two, one on each shoe. And I believe, even though this brand is not Gucci, I don't think, Bruno Magli. The reason I got these is so that I can take this little horse bit and this little horse bit and turn it into a necklace, like a Gucci-inspired necklace. And my vision for this would be that the horse bit sits like right here in the front of my neck, and then I'll attach two chains that like kind of clip in the back so that you don't see the clip. So that's my vision for it. So I'll make a video for it when I do officially make it. Next 5 items are all part of a set. We have 3 bowls, 2 pie plates. I paid a pretty penny for these, and the reason why is because I went to Savers, and the Savers near me, for whatever reason, are super freaking expensive. They see the items, they price them up, I have expensive taste, and I end up paying it. I didn't have a coupon this time too, which is a bummer, but I paid $5.49 for each of these, $5.49 for this. I paid $6.49 for both of these. The reason I purchased them is not only just because I kind of need them, because they're vintage anchor hocking. And if you look at the bottom of these, it says anchor, mixing bowl. It has the quarts, so there's a 2.5 quart, 1.5 quart, and 1 quart set. I love, love, love this vintage brown glass color. It's very hard to find. I think that's like green or amber or like this brown type of glassware. I don't know what it is. I'm just very drawn to it. So I had to buy the whole set because I didn't want to separate the set. And I don't really need 2 pie plates, so I might end up like selling one of these. I don't know how much use I'm going to get out of the smallest one, but I know this bigger 2.5 quart one is going to be one that I use all the time. Before I do use them, I want to be extra safe because these are vintage. I'm going to be using this little like lead tester kit. I got this off of Amazon. This is not sponsored by any means, but one thing that kind of irks me is like using vintage glassware just because it could contain lead. And depending on when this was made, it might have been before like lead regulations existed in the United States. So I'm going to swab these. If it passes the lead test, which I hope it does, then I will use them. If not, I'll be selling these on Etsy or Facebook Marketplace. So that was everything that I got during my first ever thrift trip of 2025. Let me know in the comments what your favorite thing was. I think my favorite thing, as I said before, was my little goose measuring cup. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed and following along to my Instagram and TikTok. That way we can go thrifting together every single week, and I think that would be really fun. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you again next week. Bye!